All right, let me do a little bit of catching you up here on what's happening in the studio. Okay. As you can see, all right, so I had I had some leftover paint, and so voila, this ended up happening. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with it yet. Yeah, we'll see. Let me set that off to the side. So this is a little bit of kind of studio housekeeping, if you will. But one of the things that I realized is that when I was working on the sky of the Standing Stones painting is that I didn't have any more metallic ink. I couldn't remember where I got it from, couldn't remember what it was. So did some digging around and realized that my artist daughter has the ones what was left. And so if she has them, I use these, I use this a lot originally. And so I would go through it quite heavily. So it's possible that she has it. She's going to watch this and be like, I do not. So check in the comments. But I bought some more of this so that it comes in multiple colors. This is awesome. This is a liquid acrylic. And while I do predominantly work in watercolor, I will pull this sometimes as a finishing touch. It gives a nice edge, and I'll use the airbrush with these. And it comes, you've got that pearlescent white, you've got a nice purple. And again, like anything that's a liquid, you shake that, shake, shake, shake. And you end up with this really, really pretty purple. It has a black, which, y'all, this is divine to use this. A lot of people are like, black. But let me tell you something. That, as a finishing touch, is quite stunning. It comes in this emerald green, a really nice bright blue, and a pink, which I don't use too often. But if I'm doing something that's kind of like a galaxy effect, I will layer in, like, I'll do multiple light layers, and I will layer in some of these other colors. So these arrived, so I'm going to put these away in their home so that I can find them. I have a container that kind of sits behind me when I'm painting, and that container has all my iridescent. It has the Schminky paint, this is some of the remnant of that. It'll flake really easily. So it flakes really easily when it's dry. I have paint set out. I have all kinds of stuff on my set out on the art table, which I no longer need. So a little bit of housekeeping. And because, okay, one of the things about watercolor painting is you spend a lot of time waiting for paint to dry. Or at least the way I paint, I spend a lot of time waiting for paint to dry. So, as a result of that, by the way, this is one of the reasons why I like these things, is the cups, is because once they're dry, I can just stack them, and now I can actually store them. Now, I stack them in color-coded, for those of you who really want to know. I cannot just leave this. Like this is an iridescent, these two are iridescent. These three over here are iridescent, but they might still be a little tacky because I just use those. So, but I stack all my iridescents together, and they have a home. And because you got to have an iridescent color to go together, and then I have them all color coded. So I'm doing just a little teeny tiny bit of cleanup. Those are greens. That's a blue. That's a white. Let me get those out of the way. Okay. And then because allergies are a thing right now. Oh, okay. Much, much, much better. All right. And then let me put my brush cleaner off to the side. Okay. So now that I've cleaned up my space a little bit. Watercolor, I spent a lot of time waiting for it to dry. So, and my studio is fairly small. I gave y'all, there's a tour video up on my YouTube, so you can see that my studio is not, it's not massive. I have a long table, and I have an easel. Okay, and I have space behind me so that I can keep up with all my stuff. It's not like I have table after table laid out. When I had a larger studio, I could do that. I'd have like 4 or 5 tables laid out and my easel, and I could just go from painting to painting to painting, which is awesome. However, that's not the case anymore. And I really, really desperately want to start a new painting. So, I went to my local art shop and I bought some stretchers. Now, I can't get this whole thing into the, into the whole thing because it's long. So, I am going to be stretching a canvas that, how long is this one? Does it tell me how long I bought? No, it doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me how long it is. Somewhere in the neighborhood of, what's half of that? I don't know. Close to 4 feet? Maybe close to 4 feet. This is about my finger's about the halfway. It's about halfway in between. And you can see the other side kind of goes off the end. And I have been dying to make this painting. I want to do a Longhorn. And it needs to be long because in order to encompass the horns. And then I'm now trying to figure out, like, this is only like 12, maybe 12, 14 inches. It's not quite long enough. I went and purchased a variety of stretcher bars so that I could do a couple of projects. And this is the next one that I have. Yeah, this one might be it. This might be it. All right. So, the last time you saw me wrap a canvas, you saw something that was round and that was a form. And that's a custom made piece. Okay, so that's not a typical frame wrap job. Okay, and I'm going to have to like seriously clear off my table a whole lot more in order, because I mean, this sucker didn't even fit on the length of my table, will it? Oh, barely, but I will have to literally clean everything off of this table. What you saw was me wrapping a panel. This is traditionally a canvas. So when you see artists or when you see somebody who's got a, I'm sorry, I keep kind of going out of screen. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. It keeps kind of switching down. This is typically what you're going to think of when somebody says, oh, I wrap my own canvases. Okay. They're using these. These are called stretcher bars. And for those of you who don't know, or if you're a budding artist, so a stretcher bar is cut. They're all cut the same. Okay. So they have these notches on the end, a slot here. Everybody does this a little bit differently. Look, I still have the little, some people are going to take the time to remove this, the sticker. I do not always do that. You know, I'm just like, well, it's now just part of the canvas, just now part of the piece of art. Yeehaw. But they fit. I'm going to get one of the smaller ones so that I can actually do this on camera for you. So here's 2. And as you're going to be able to see, they're going to be able to slide into one another. It's a little bit of a challenge because they're meant to, it's meant to be a snug fit. I'm going to have to separate these. So if you can see how these are going together, they'll go together. They'll form a nice corner. And what you may or may not be able to see really well is that, so this is a slightly curved surface. This isn't completely flat. This is flat. This is flat. So you've got one side that's not. Okay. This allows me to get in here and really stretch, put my staples in so that I can really wrap this canvas really nice and tight. Okay. The flat sides, I like to use the flat side. Okay, for me personally, I like to use the flat side for my painting because I'm going to get a nice tight edge. You will have people who like to use the curved edge for where the canvas actually goes out. Gives them a little bit of give, gives you a little bit, depends on what you're wanting to do. I I will tell you that there's no right or wrong way if you choose to do this yourself. There are other people who'd be like, oh, there are some out there who might be like, no, if you're going to wrap your canvas, you have to do it like this. I come from the college of you do what works for you. Try it both ways. Wrap a canvas, see which one you like, experiment, right? It kind of depends on what you like to do as to how well it works. Because I am dying to make this Longhorn watercolor canvas. And so the next thing that's going to come up, decide if I'm going to try to wrap this and video it. It's not the most exciting thing in the world to see, in my humble opinion. However, it is a little bit of a kind of like mesmerizing, if you will, to watch. While I talk, I'm going to actually try to work on cleaning up some of this so that I can actually have a space to stretch this bad boy. And like I said, every artist functions a little differently, but doing this by having the second painting, what it's going to allow me to do is a couple of things. One, I have the research made, right? I've got my research. I've done the pieces where I've sketched out the next images that I want to use. Okay, I have taken a photograph so that I can project it, so that I can kind of move it around on my circular canvas so that I can kind of figure out where and how and the way I want this to look. I've done that. I've got that part set up and ready to go. I just need to finish the painting. I'm almost there. So one of the next videos that is likely to come up is finalizing. You're not actually seeing. Here, I'll see if I can adjust my video. Here we go. Or maybe not. Let's see, this could be kind of interesting. It's still attached to my arm. It's still attached to my mechanical arm. Let's see if I can get this. And of course, when I do this, it'll be upside down. All right, there you go. Yep, it's upside down. Remember, I learned how to flip my camera. So that is in a pretty decent state right now. Now let's get this set back up again. Hope you don't get dizzy very easily. There we go. All right, so I'm still in the process of setting that up. Oh, by the way, isn't this so pretty? Friend of mine, her husband got this for her. She's a dear friend, and something started eating it. Sadness. And I mean, really started eating it. So I'm going to see if I can't find this pattern and duplicate it for her. That goes in a different section. So one of the nice things about having like multiple hobbies, if you will, is while I wait for the paint to dry, I can go do something else. All right, where am I going to put you? You're going to go in there. So while I'm waiting for the paint to dry, I get to do things like knit. So this is going to be really helpful. I'm at a stage to where the next thing I need to do is put the round canvas here. I've got the last layer of paint that I'm going to do in an upright position done. And then you're going to see me come here. And now I'm going to be working in some watercolor pencils to go in and adding some additional layers of levels of depth and color. Which means if I wrap this bad boy, it needs to actually go up on the easel so that I can transfer the image of the Longhorn onto the canvas. And I will now be able to readily and easily maneuver between the two things because what I'm working with is the watercolor crayons, watercolor pencils. Here's my little sign. Oh, it's flipped. You can't see it. It says, please come in. I'm already disturbed. I used to have this hanging on a spot, and I now don't. I've rearranged. I have a tendency to rearrange things quite often, just because I can. Give me a second. Apparently I can't move things around and talk at the same time. That's just disturbing. But I'm excited because I'm going to be able to move that round canvas of the Standing Stones painting back and forth here while I work on this. I'm going to be able to put this onto the easel, transfer my watercolor image, come back, and use probably enough masking fluid to require that I buy another bottle in order to mask out the Longhorn so I can get the background in, which will then allow me to work on the Longhorn itself. I'm super excited to start that. It's just this image that's in my head and it won't go away. That's part of it. When you're an artist, sometimes you get something that's stuck in your head and it doesn't want to disappear. That is an indication of you're working on me next. All right, this is the next project. This is going to be the next thing that I'm doing, which is kind of handy. So here we go. So you can see now that this is, can you see the end? You can see this end. Okay, so you can see this end, but you can't see the other end. Maybe I need to not flip this image. Okay. To be able to frame it and stretch it. So, match the, you have to match the curved end to the curved end, and then this way you can actually get an idea. Oh, I gotta go to the other side. Hold on. I gotta bring this end over. Because you gotta match the curved to the curved part. Okay, that isn't gonna happen. So let me rotate. Alright, this way you guys can actually see how this works. You're going to line up your pieces. Okay, maybe that's going to be a little bit better for you to see. Line up your pieces, and it's going to give me a little bit more leverage. And you have to work to get these together. It is not an easy task. I can't tell you how many times I have either stabbed myself because stretching a canvas, getting your stretcher bars just in alone is, it's meant to be tight. You don't want this to come apart. So the fact that it requires some muscle is not a bad thing. But now I want you to see that I've got this gap here that I cannot have. I'm going to have to wrestle with this bad boy to get it to close up that space. And so that I can, let me get better leverage this way. And pardon me, burn my head. I'm gonna rock it a little bit. You always want to come back and check it. Like, see how that right now. All right, so this is a really teeny tiny thing, but it's extended past. So this edge is extended past. I need it to come down, right? So, of course, I'm trying to do this and it's going to end up kind of off camera. So you can see how this edge is not lined up. They should be smooth and lined up to one another. It's okay that you're going to have gaps because down here, you're going to have those. That's not, it's not really negotiable. But I need to slide this forward, and this is where my hand strength is not the best anymore. So, where's my hammer? Huh. Okay, so I have a teeny tiny hammer. We were like, oh my gosh, you have a girl's hammer. Okay, dude, this is a crafting hammer. It's meant to be tiny. Get a grip. It's going to allow me, because it's not going to cause too much damage. It's got a ball on one side, so I can use that. It's got a little flat surface on the other. So I can use this to knock this down. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right, so should be able to see that it's a nice, now of course, you know, some of that's going to come off. That's all right. It's going to be covered up anyway. Now I've got a nice smooth edge. So you get to do that 4 times, right? There's 4 corners. You get to make this process 4 times. Now, a lot of times there are folks who will come in and put nails into here. This is so tight. By the time I finish stretching it, I'm good. I don't need to do that. So I don't do that. I'm not sure when I started seeing people actually do that. It's been a hot minute. I know I never have. I've never done that. And because once I staple and stretch my canvas, this is going to be an extraordinarily stable frame for painting. So you've seen how to kind of attach each of these, okay, for each corner. Having a small hammer, you don't have to have a small one, but having a hammer handy if your hands are not strong is helpful, especially to make kind of some small minor adjustments. I can do that with this hammer. Once you have the canvas stretched, you coat it with water and allow it to dry, just like I did with the panel. Same kind of idea, except you're going to notice that it'll really tighten up, and you should really get a good bounce, right? A nice tight bounce off of your canvas. To save you the trauma and drama of watching me wrap this whole thing and canvas the whole thing, I'm not going to have you do that. But I wanted you to kind of get this idea that now that I'm in a position where I can transition, it's going to allow me to have 2 paintings going at a time, which means that I can record more because I can switch from one painting while one is wet and I have to wait for it to dry. I can then work on the other painting. Up until now, I haven't really been able to do that because I haven't been ready. So I'm excited. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do a little bit more work, a little bit more magic, but I thought I'd catch you up on what was happening in the studio. And then obviously, as you've already figured out, as I posted earlier, my videos kind of go back to, you know, we'll kind of waffle between once to 2 times a week. Oop, hello. You shifted. Hello. Between once a week to 2 times a week, depending upon how often I can get into the studio. So, questions, feel free. And then I'll also try to post some still images and things on my Instagram, so feel free to go check that out. Just as a word to the wise, when you go to my Instagram, I also post some motivational things because I'm all about helping everybody keep an even keel and be present, be mindful. Yeah, that's all I got. So the next time we pick up, I'm going to have this wrapped and I will switch out my canvases. Now, here's the thing. I am going to try to show you the transferring the image onto this canvas. It won't, there's no zoom, keep in mind, all of that kind of jazz. So it's just me figuring out how to do this. So I get to learn together. Again, got a suggestion, please. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Drop that down there. That way you can see me transferring the image to this canvas. I do use a projector. I have some reference photos, and I project that up onto the canvas, get it oriented the way that I like it, sketch it out with a watercolor pencil, and then bring it back to the table so I can map it out and get the background in. And then obviously painting this background is going to take some space, and my camera is not going to cover the whole thing unless I figure out how to elevate it further off of my table, which we'll see. Whether or not I try to sort that out. You may just have to kind of work with me while I do paint sections of this thing. So I hope you have a fabulous day. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. So I'll give you a little wave. Hello. And go have a great day. Make it a good one. And I will see you in the next video.